How's it going, YouTube? It's Lucas here from DB25 channel, and today I have a video on this. What is this, you may ask? Well, as you may see from the wrong camera angles, this is a Nikko Kicker, which is an 80s-ish two-wheel drive monster truck, RC, obviously. So, some things about this. It's a monster truck, and it's red, and it looks cool. But the main gimmick of this is later on after I talk about everything else. Well, starting after this, it has a rear axle that has a differential, and pretty much most things did after a certain year, but, you know, it's still cool. But another thing that Nikko also has to have is a 2-speed. Why would you... Whatever. Why would you have a 2-speed when you have it on the remote? No, whatever. And the suspension, that is the front suspension, is also from every Nikko ever, in that it pivots from here, not here. So you don't have to worry about, well, upper wishbone or upper A-arms or anything like that. You just have to deal with pivoting, which is really nice. Granted, this has like a limited amount of actual suspension travel, but it's a lot nicer than some vehicles I know, which I will transition to. I know this isn't Nikko, but, like, really, am I doing something wrong? Is this not how this is supposed to work? This rear suspension doesn't even feel like it exists. I'm just bending plastic. It looks cool, sure. Front suspension is worse than a frickin' Wego. Or I could just completely forget to say the wrong car. I meant to say, Trabant, but, you know, whatever. Wego. Probably even worse, I don't know. Anyway, this thing has swapped positions, but whatever. Has, up at the front, given that I've talked about everything else, a massive bumper that is wider than the entire truck, and looks actually pretty good on it, because toy-grade bumpers have ruined me, and made me want to put huge bumpers on things that don't really need them. So, I guess I'll go to the tires. Tires are very soft. They're very nice. I like them, and they get a lot of traction. And another thing I'll show you once I actually get to outside and running it, which I will do, because there's a very specific thing. Yeah. So, it has details too, which is this engine piece that is semi-transparent. For one reason, again, I'll have to get to it. The front bumper is chrome and has lights. I mean, it doesn't have lights currently in there, but you can definitely put lights in there, and it would look actually really cool. A giant smokestack on the back, because this thing is apparently a diesel. And the rear end, which drugs are a dead end. I mean, not necessarily. Depending on the type of drugs. I don't know. You can definitely tell this was made in the 80s. Darn you, drug wars. And Nixon. I may have that wrong, but whatever. It also has a roll bar in the back with daylighters. I guess they're not daylighters, but whatever. Light bars. And, yeah, that's about it. So, now that I've talked about everything else, but the giant, shining chrome rims that are absolutely amazing looking. These are 6-point rims. That's about it. They're really chrome, and they're huge. And I like the look of them. So, as you may have guessed from this transmitter right here, it has no digital proportion, but it does have a turbo speed on the analog. And now I'm completely forgetting which take I'm on, so I may have skipped over some stuff. But one thing I have not gone over in either of them is the batteries. This thing, also while I'm under here, you can adjust the trim on the vehicle, but that didn't come till later. It takes a standard 7.2 volt, 6-cell nickel metal hydrides, or even back then nickel cadmiums. It depends. One works way better than the other, but for the purposes of actually wanting my batteries to last, I'm going to use a LiPo, because same voltage, it won't perform much differently, except nickel metals and nickel cadmiums will perform much worse. So, that's about it. Yeah, you just kind of scoot this white piece aside, if that's even possible. Scoot this thing back, and there's your battery tray. It is not completely rectangular, so you can't really put anything different in there. I don't know why it takes, I mean, I guess it crushes the battery more, but whatever. So, I'm going to be running the LiPos back here, sticking straight out the back, whatever, I don't care. But, I'll have to hook up the battery for this to show you the amazingness. I'm going to keep it this angle, so unless of you have already noticed the thing on the side, or have watched any other video on this thing. So I'm going to go do that. Okay, so I have my battery hooked up. I have a bunch of adapters going to there, but that's just for length, so I can have it back here. Having the controller on, which brings me to the point that this controller is not technically the correct one for this truck, because it has this starter thing, which doesn't do anything, and the horn that does actually do something, but we'll get to that. So, well, I guess I can turn it around now, because you already probably know what it is. This thing, which is currently off, I'll have to turn that back on. There. Sound of confirmation. It's currently off right now, and if I leave it sit for a little bit, which I'm not going to do, because I'm sure it'll do it when I'm talking, it will make a beeping noise, just like that. I touched nothing, so that did that on its own. But flipping it to run will, you know, make more noises. But the main thing, you actually have to hold, and you actually have to make sure that this thing is in fact, like, holding it while you're starting it like an actual car to make sure it starts. Yeah, that's a dead giveaway of what it does. So, the person designing this, why do I keep trying? The person designing this probably had no idea what cars sounded like and made it sound as much as a arcade game as humanly possible, but that's how you attract kids. So, I'm going to set my tripod and stuff outside. I can't guarantee it's going to be a very good angle or very far, but I can guarantee that you will see it running with a battery, because I need to get this to 10 minutes, but I do have that enough. So, I'll show you everything, all the other sounds and stuff outside, so that's fine. You might be able to hear it, I don't know. For the sake of better sounds and me not embarrassing myself talking in the middle of a relatively busy road, I'm going to stay in here, because I have floor space. So, turning the vehicle on, if I can find the on-off switch, and turning it, on, and turning the remote on, of course. I'm actually going to go outside for this part. Alright. As I immediately go out of frame. genuinely injured my soul trying to make that. That's why I don't like doing driving. But anyway, on a completely different note, this is one of my favorite vintage, specifically Nikko, RCs, because it makes noise. I mean, probably others did, but this one does. It's cool and it's fast, and it's in the golden age of RC. Look at this thing. And this Ampro set, not just like hobby grade RCs, but toy grade RCs. This thing was great. I'm sure the kid would have loved it. Because I do, when I'm 16. So, what do I think about it? Other than I just explained it to you. I love it. Not, like, yeah. I enjoy it. It's a fun RC. I had a blast with it. I ran it a while ago, or actually yesterday, for quite a bit, on just this battery. And you'd be surprised, for how long this thing runs, it will barely take down your battery. It will take an entire day of running. Have to worry about charging your LiPo again. That's great. I mean, I wish I did it for nickel metal hydrides and, nickel cadmiums, but that's great the LiPos can last that long. I mean, holy crap. You will have to figure out some way of mounting your batteries yet again to it, but, sticking out the back is not necessarily the greatest, as you can tell by the driving. You can do wheelies with it, and I've already done that twice. I've actually got it up here, close to flipping over. Don't even get me started on trying to go up ramps with this thing in low gear, because this surprisingly has a lot of torque for what it is. So yeah, that's about all I got for that. It's cool. I like it. Nikko used to do some really cool stuff. They kind of do still today. I mean, the latest thing that I have is the Viper, I think. I believe that was Nikko. It was the Nikko Viper. But, yeah, cool. More companies should do stuff like this. I should say this more often. But toy grade RCs back then, and even hobby grade stuff, is just pales in comparison to what was modern, or what was cool back then. Like, you can't tell me that really fast looking new bright friggin' buggy thing goes very fast with a motor that is smaller than this. You can't get yourself to go that fast. I think got safety regulations, whatever. But, I highly doubt anyone complained about this or any other thing that was mildly slow back then, because it had actual working suspension, it had actual differentials, it had 2 speeds, the transmitters, though being 27 megahertz, and they still are, but actually were still good. That's it. That's good. This thing's amazing. And before I say that, I repeat that entire thing in the next video of the next thing I'm going over, I'm going to end the video here. And this thing genuinely didn't need a 15-minute video about it, but I made one because I care about it. Anyway, look us out. Bye, YouTube. Oh yeah, I gotta use this controller for the next video. So I don't have a spot to put that battery. I'll have to figure it out. I don't have a spot to put this either. Oh, crap, that's still recording.